This is a Film Stories original podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the X-Cast. As ever, the truth is in here. I'm your host for this episode, Carl Sweeney, and welcome back to I Want to Believe Minute, where we are talking about the second X-Files movie, and we're talking about it 1 minute at a time. And we have reached minute 68, and the chase sequence continues in this one. So we pick up at the 67-minute mark, and we go all the way through to 67:59, and at the end of the minute, Mulder is shouting to Whitney, shouting, "He's coming at you." So, things are hotting up there, and to go to Whitney, Clara doesn't have much
no, not much
much
screen
longer to go.
Yeah, not much screen time left, yeah.
Very sadly. And
bye-bye, Dakota.
Before we get going properly, quick reminder to follow us on social media, and if you're enjoying the show, we would love you to drop us a quick rating and review on Apple Podcasts, or indeed any podcast platform that lets you leave a review. That would be great. It would help us find new listeners. Okay, Clara, so more chasing in this minute. Like I said, lots of handheld camera work, lots of panting, lots of climbing. Climbing down things as well as up things, clambering across rooftops. And like I said, right at the very end of the minute, Mulder is shouting to Whitney that the villain they're chasing is coming at her. So I suppose the other thing going on as well is that this is the minute, I think, where I was going to say the red box, but it's a bag, isn't it?
It's a bag.
Finds.
It's
like the organ
transplant bag.
So presumably, that's like a cool bag of some kind, is it, where they can keep everything like at an appropriate temperature? I imagine that's how it works, is it?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah, to keep everything kind of cool and healthy.
Yeah. So did anything jump out at you with this particular minute, Clara? Like I said, more intense chasing, mainly.
More intense chasing. We do see that scene where Drummy comes out of the building and then looks at the bag, puzzled. And then I want to say, isn't there a shot of a whole bunch of FBI agents pushing through the door after him? Oh, no, it's a shot of a whole bunch of FBI agents peering over the bag, right? And that's kind of, that. I thought it was quite effective, quite dramatic, like all these men being like, oh, bewilderedly looking at the bag, like, what are we going to find? But they're all kind of confused and perplexed. And then it obviously is all going to turn into horror. Like, obviously, wants to unzip the bag.
Because I suppose they don't know, because this is the bag that's been dropped by
they don't know, yeah.
one of the abductors, and he's just kind of dropped it as he's run off, unbeknownst to them.
And
so,
there is a bit of a confusing thing here. Well, obviously, there's a human head in the bag. This is very X-Files. I thought this was very appropriate. It's very X-Files. Finding human heads and things feels prime X-File material. But why was the guy running with the head in the first place? Wasn't the head from the FBI agent that he abducted? Wasn't that the FBI agent's head? And he obviously doesn't want her head because he wants the body. Because the body, it goes on, and I'm sure they'll cover it in other minutes. But so, what was he doing with the head in downtown DC? Was he going to drop the head? Was he trying to get rid of the head? Was he, why was he walking around with the head? Why not just, I don't know, bury the head in the snow out where his house is?
Yeah, I don't know the answer, to be honest. Somebody out there might well have an explanation for us.
I mean, it's dramatic and it's creepy and it's good and it's a good scene, but I felt like the head was there just to do that. It didn't make any narrative sense as to why the guy was running around with the head at this particular point in the story.
Do you think it's maybe kind of a nod to the movie Seven? Do you know that movie?
Yes, definitely.
Where it builds, spoilers for the film Seven, but it's like almost 30 years old at this point, and it builds to a very memorable scene, doesn't it? Where Brad Pitt's character finds a box that Kevin Spacey's like the killer there, isn't he? And he's kind of decapitated Gwyneth Paltrow, who's Pitt's girlfriend, and it's very memorable. that whole standoff, isn't it?
Pregnant girlfriend.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So and I think Brad Pitt's character doesn't know she was pregnant.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Morgan Freeman does. Morgan Freeman is Brad Pitt's.
Because they've had a conversation, haven't they?
Yeah, where she's been worried about. I think isn't she worried about bringing a child into such a dark world or whatever? Yeah. And Morgan Freeman's trying to stop Brad Pitt from looking in the box, and Kevin Spacey's baiting him to look in the box, and then also reveals that she was pregnant. Because
he's kind of had them drive out to this remote. It's almost like in the desert or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or it's like it's remote anyway, and yeah.
It's basically like Suicide by Cop, right? Isn't Kevin Spacey trying to get Brad Pitt to shoot him? And the way to get to shoot him is to be like, look, I've brought you your girlfriend's head in a box. Oh yeah, and by the way, she was pregnant with your child.
But it's
boom. So Brad Pitt's trying to like not freak out, or Morgan is trying to prevent him from
to de-escalate.
Yeah, to de-escalate it. Like don't look in the box, calm down, take a deep breath. But obviously, he's going to look in the box and get very upset and shoot Kevin Spacey. I just ruined the film for everyone.
It's still worth seeing though. Because what's good about it is that Gwyneth Paltrow appears. The amount of screen time she has is just about right. I think where the fact that she's been off screen for a while, you don't really think that you haven't seen her, but she's made enough of an impact that it really does. It is quite a startling moment, I think.
And I think the thing that's really good about it is that you know that it's her head in the box before he knows it's the head. It's like, but you don't want it to be true. You're like, could it be? Could it be? Has he actually done this? Has he really? Oh, please let's say he done. Like, please let's hope he hasn't done it. He can't have done it. Oh no, he probably has done it. And then, so I don't think it's a big like surprise. It's more like.
It's like a dawning.
It's like dread, like a
dawning
dread, yeah. And then, which is obviously what Brad Pitt's character is feeling, this dawning dread that he knows actually it probably is her head in a box.
Yeah. Do you think that? So, do you think it's an intentional nod to Seven here, having the head in the bag, or do you think that's just that we're making that association, like, and it maybe wasn't like what they really want? It wasn't intentional.
I think the sort of it might be slightly intentional because a little nod, but the reason why I say that is because that shot of the FBI agents looking over the bag before it's opened, like even Drummy, like they're all confused by what the bag is there, but they know there's they got to know there's a human organ in there somewhere, right? So they're all like, and it was probably dropped by the suspect. So though they may not know what's in it, there's probably this dawning feeling that you're going to find something unpleasant.
Yeah.
Right?
And that is done quite well, isn't it? Because there's clearly like an appalling smell coming from this box or something with the way they're sort of reacting to it. But anyway, I think the actual head in the box moment is in the next minute.
Oh, sorry.
But, no, it's okay. We can come back and talk about it more then. But with this minute, we talked about the sort of improvisational aspect to the earlier bit of the chase, didn't we? Where maybe they're on a construction site and they have to sort of kind of work with what they've got kind of thing. Similarly, Carter talks here about how they had to make up a stunt kind of on the spot, which is more the jumping down. He needed a way to get the actors to where the shaft is, the elevator shaft, and needed something to kind of bridge from where they were to get them to there, and that's why we get a bit of an improvised stunt here. There's another moment I thought was interesting, which is like, I don't know if you noticed that Amanda Peet kind of comes into frame at one point and actually kind of loses her footing a little bit.
Yeah.
And that wasn't like a planned slip, it was she just slipped, but the floors were genuinely quite slick apparently, and I think it does add something to it. It makes it feel a bit more real and exciting,
It makes a building scene dangerous, which it is,
Yeah, absolutely. They run past the hotel, the Fairmont Hotel, which is under construction, but I was having a look on its website and it I think was built in the 1930s. So when he says it's under construction, maybe they were having an extension built or a renovation. Yeah, exactly. So they used some kind of a camera which was sort of new at that time and was discontinued a few years later, called the Genesis camera for a lot of its downtown filming, which was a digital camera. But yeah, Clara, like I say, more chasing. So we were talking a bit about foot chases on the last episode, and on this, so this is runnersworld.com, 9 best movie run chases of all time. So, like I said, Casino Royale was number 3, Octopussy we mentioned was number 9, Kung Fu Hustle is number 8, but I don't think I've seen that movie. Have you seen it?
No, I don't think so, no.
Okay, so we can't comment on that. But this article has all the chases like embedded as YouTube clips if anyone wants to Google it and find it. Number 7, Hot Fuzz from 2007.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So Hot Fuzz was funny because it's kind of in this like rural English location, isn't it? And they're doing like kind of American action movie style car chases and things. So
I think that's especially funny for British people, I think, to watch, because most
definitely.
British people will have been into a location like that before.
So from the article, in the film stealing scene, Simon Pegg's super efficient policeman pursues a shoplifter by taking a fence hopping shortcut across the back gardens of Sanford and rather brilliantly makes use of a trampoline. So yeah, that's a funny one. Number 6, Reservoir Dogs.
Is that a foot chase?
There's a moment in Reservoir Dogs. So this is like a heist movie where you don't see the heist, but you see some of the aftermath of the robbery. So you do see Steve Buscemi's character, Mr. Pink, kind of running down the street at one time, and I think he shoots a few police officers and that kind of thing. So I don't know if I would have put that in my top 10, top 9 foot chases, but anyway. There's number 5 is a French thriller called Tell No One, but I haven't seen that film. I don't think. Have you?
I have seen Tell No One, yes.
It says it's a foot chase through the back streets of Paris as an innocent murder suspect attempts to evade the police.
I think, is this, hang on, I'm going to Google this. Is this the one where he's looking for his wife? I think it is.
I don't know. It says, in one scene, he slaloms his way across a 6-lane motorway before seeking refuge in a rat-infested bin.
I have seen Tell No One. So, I have to say, I don't really remember the foot chase, but what I do remember from Tell No One is him. Oh, I don't want to spoil it. There's a very, very good use of a U2 song in it. A really uplifting moment. And they have, I think it's with or Without You, and they have it playing in the background. Like, the main character finds out something hopeful after a period of real despair, and the music sort of builds and builds and kind of takes over the whole scene. I remember being like, oh, this is a really good use of this song in this scene. And Tell No One's a good film. It's about a man who's searching for his wife, who he's really loves and is very worried about, and she's gone missing. And it's a good film. But I don't remember the chase scene. Sorry,
I'll have to.
That's not what I remember about it. It's got a very famous French actor in it as well. What's his name? It's got Kristen Scott Thomas in it. I think that was the first French film that I saw Kristen Scott Thomas in before.
She's done a few, hasn't she?
Yeah, because she speaks very good French.
Yeah. I'm going to have to check this out because sounds up my alley.
It is good.
Number 4 on this list, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 1986, and it's a chase where the obstacles include living rooms, gardens, traffic, and bikinis. It says Ferris Bueller provides a masterclass in big screen running, hedge hopping through suburbia. With the help of the odd trampoline and a top-class soundtrack from the beat. He even addresses hydration as he swipes a can of cola from a barbecuer.
I have to say, I've never seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and I feel like I'm missing out on a cultural moment. I need to go and watch it.
Yeah, it's got a funny, right at the end of the movie, it's like, like the credits roll, and then the character comes back to address the audience directly. It's kind of a...
breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, exactly. Casino Royale, we said, was number 3, we talked about that. Number 2, 28 Weeks Later from 2007. One of the most heart-stopping opening sequences in movie history, it says.
Yeah. Scared the crap out of me. Yeah. Yeah, because this is a zombie movie where zombies can run.
Yeah.
And like in a lot of zombie movies.
Yeah,
you can kind of like outrun them or push them over. Or... I mean, in The Last of Us, they can also run. But then I guess there's a TV series a bit different. And also... I thought Last of Us, are they zombies? We don't know. I mean, they were kind of mushroom people.
They had some of a name, didn't they? Yeah.
Called us.
But they were very zombie-like.
Very zombie-like, yeah. No, The Last of Us, 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, both films scared the crap out of me. And I think I saw 28 Weeks Later in the cinema in central London, which was a mistake. Because a lot of it is set in central London and East London, and then you walk out and you're like in some of those... I mean, they make great use of the tube. They make great use of, I think at one point they're in Hyde Park. I mean, Isle of Dogs. I mean, these films are good films for seeing London from a different perspective. They're just...
Yeah.
But yeah, scared the crap out of me, both those films. And actually, some of the scariest parts of those films aren't just the zombies. It's the other humans in in the stories who are doing nefarious things.
Yeah, so now, when I said to you that there were a couple that sprang to mind for me before I even looked at this article, like I say, one was Casino Royale with all the parkour, and the other one was the film that actually is number one on this list, which is 1991's Point Break with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze.
The surfing movie.
Indeed, yeah. Have you seen it?
I have, but I don't remember a chase scene in it.
It's partway through the film. There's a chase through like a suburban neighbourhood where, it involves like paddling pools and washing lines, and I think at one point a dog is thrown at Keanu Reeves as like a weapon. And what's good about it is the way it's filmed, because you were talking on the previous episode about how these things can be over-edited and that can actually take away from the excitement. But in Point Break, what's great about it is the camera's like kind of really the camera works really fluid and mobile, and it does make it a very immersive chase. So it's the obstacles listed on his website are guns, cars, walls, animals, masks, and angry pedestrians. So
I wonder if chase scenes are really appeal to people when they're in locations that are familiar to the audience. Do you know what I mean? Like, one of the reasons why I like the chase scenes in... I don't know. On the other hand, though, I love the chase scenes in Casino Royale, and I'm not familiar to any of those locations. But I wonder if... Do you know what I mean? I wonder if back gardens, suburban streets, or downtown streets of a city that you're familiar with... I always get excited when I see locations in Star Wars movies that I know are like buildings in London, or like Bond is running through the tube in London, or because I feel very connected to the city that I live in. I wonder if people like that. They're like, oh, hey, they're running through back gardens that look like my back garden. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Is it Skyfall where Bond jumps on the back of the tube? Isn't there like a passerby who says something like, he's in a hurry?
Yeah. Nice. And there's also stuff like, they're like, oh, Whitechapel's the next stop, and then it's Canary Wharf, and you're like, no, actually, those two stations aren't next to you. Like, it's a little hint to... one of the things I think is interesting is no animal disaster movies have made this list. So what about like chases in like Jurassic Park movies and stuff? Where the human beings aren't chasing other human beings. It's human beings being chased by animals.
But the dinosaurs are on foot as well as the people, so it could count, couldn't it?
They're using their little lizard legs.
Although sometimes it's like the dinosaurs, the T-Rex is on foot, but the people are in a car. Because that's a funny like, visual gag in Jurassic Park, isn't it? When it's like the T-Rex is in the rearview mirror, and there's a thing there that says like objects in the mirror may be closer than they actually appear. It's kind of.
But I think in Jurassic Park: The Lost World, like the second film, there's a scene where they're running through a wheat field, or not. It's not wheat. It's not a wheat field. High grasses.
You just see the wheat kind of high
grasses, and you see the raptors kind of swooping and going through. And I thought that's really effective.
That was a good chase. That was one of the best parts of Jurassic Park 2.
It wasn't a great movie, to be honest.
Okay, Clara, we are going to wrap it up there, I think, because we have one more minute left to do on our block of minutes before we hand over to a new team. So we'll come back to cover minute 69 very soon. But until then, always remember, trust no one.